What's up, everybody, and welcome to the All Wrapped Up podcast. If you're new to the show or have been a weekly listener, thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. As you know, I don't ask for much, but I would appreciate it if you left your feedback and left a 5-star rating on any platform that you're listening to. It really helps us out in ranking to get the word out about the industry. And don't forget, if you find value in the content, subscribe and tell a friend. Now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up with Joseph Rodriguez, the Wraptilian.
Just so many times, but that's what makes you, great. That's what makes you good. That's what you learn. That's where you improvise and you grow. You overcome that challenge.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We've got Joseph Rodriguez from Wraptilian. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, Jess? Thanks for having me, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on here and share your story, brother. As always on the podcast, I like to start the podcast by getting a little bit of an inside look on what you have going on this week for projects.
This week, I have a few vehicle wraps, partial graphics and spot graphics for one of my clients. Right now I'm working on a helmet wrap. This person wants the BMW M design.
Okay.
On their helmet. So I gotta figure that out. It's gonna be a simple design, but just gotta figure it out. Kind of freestyle. So it's more of a fun project that I just have a little fun on. Most of my work is pre-designed for me. The graphics are pre-made, and I just stick them on there right here. I guess to kind of have a little puzzle, I guess, to figure out. Definitely.
Do you like doing helmets? I saw a couple helmets on your Instagram.
Helmets are challenging. Helmets are very challenging. You just have to know how to piece them together, and then you got to know the limits of the material, because that's everything to pull the helmet off. I've done a few helmets. I don't know if I like them. They're tedious, but I guess I like the feeling of accomplishment after you nail it.
Yeah, I bet. It's like wrapping a gas tank,
Yeah.
wrapping like an egg. It just doesn't conform that well.
And then how do you set it up for yourself? I always have to rig something up to hold it. Either way, whatever I use, I'm still fighting it. I still have on one foot. I'm on one foot here, one foot holding it down, one foot holding me up. I'm pulling both ways, because I'm by myself. So trying to pull that off by yourself, it's kind of tricky to say the least.
Yeah, man. You know what I seen a cool trick was I saw somebody take a core from one of the rolls, and what they would do is they would actually take the scraps, and as time went on, they kind of built this up. They would wrap the top of the core, and it would almost make like a head shape at the top. It would look like a lollipop at the end of the day. But they would, do time all the scraps. They would kind of do that, and then they would cut the core and put it on a vise or hold it with their feet at the bottom and stick the helmet inside, and it would be snug. So you're able to tug on it, tug it down, tug it back. And, I thought that was kind of cool. You could even probably put a mannequin head on it too.
Right.
To kind of help you out. But I thought that trick was kind of cool. I saw that on, I think it was maybe a YouTube video back in the day.
Yeah. I think I've seen that a while ago too, and I've definitely used that one. I have a little bumper stand, and so I'll flip up one of the wings, and I'll put the helmet on top, and I'll put my microfibers in there.
Yeah.
Try not to damage the inside of the helmet. A lot of times they're nice helmets. So just it's the same concept, but now I kind of actually have a framework to help me get some leverage, and I'll add weight to the bottom. But even then, with all that, I'm still putting my own weight on it and making it happen. But I get it.
Yeah, I mean, you find when there's a will, there's a way. Especially when you're a solo installer. You gotta find different ways to doing stuff. Do you own one of those wrap poles to help you out with bumpers, doing them solo?
Oh man, no, because I've done so many without it, that I just I could see that being really beneficial to a lot of people, especially starting out.
Yeah.
But I've done it without it. I still haven't used them myself. I mean, I got to put some vinyl on a broomstick here. I got a stick I'm looking at I could use, but I still just haven't. I've never done that.
Yeah.
So, have you tried it?
I have not personally, but I've heard and watched videos. Chucky Cordy has told me it's saved him quite a bit because he's solo. He's got hands here and there that can help him out. But most of the time he's doing the stuff solo. He swears by the stick, man, that it works out really great, especially when you have the IR heaters.
Right.
The units.
I have one of those.
Yeah. It's just kind of holding the stick out with the material nice and taut and straight, and just kind of walking the heater with you. It just keeps everything nice and taut. Because, when you're solo, you can only heat so much and then stretch it, tack it, heat a little bit more. It's just, you're just piecing and piecing and piecing. This just holds it nice and straight. And I mean, I'm sure a broomstick would do the same. But when you can get a nice carbon fiber one from, auto skins there.
Oh yeah.
Kyle. Yeah.
Kyle's the man.
Yeah. He's got some great products, man.
Definitely. Yeah. Maybe I'll pick one up, but, I'm just, like I said, I've just done them so many times without it, and I don't feel like I'm like forcing the material. I'm necessarily losing, or that my bumper could be better, but I think it could be faster.
Right.
I could see that really saving me time because I have less material to kind of work out, go back and forth, and you should, pick it out, lift up, get it flat. I can see the material just slowly down flatter. So yeah, in the long run, it's going to probably save you money.
Yeah, time. And, time, man. You know it. Time's money, bro. Yeah. Especially for us solo guys, man. It's how much can we get done in a week? It's not so much the day, it's how much we can get done in a week.
Right. It's a long haul. It's not like I'm usually working 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Sometimes I'll work like 2 weeks straight or crazy hours. So it's definitely it's a long haul. You got to do this day after day, week after week, year after year. It's kind of crazy if you're really installing that often. It's really tedious and hard on you. So anything that's going to save you time is really crucial to a professional. And nowadays there's so many products. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it definitely helps us out as far as having options. You know what I mean?
I started 2008, and we didn't have that many. Axle tape wasn't out. There may have been some form of a wrap glove. There was no bumper poles, no. Not
even a good selection of squeegees back then.
Yeah, everything was just the felt buffers. The actual felt hard force felt. Like I never used those. I don't know. They had some kind of alternative. I think the Avery was the best alternative.
Yeah,
because it came with the blue felt on it, and that's kind of, I don't know. I guess the evolution of tools is really the evolution of our industry. So
absolutely, from 2008 to 2018, that 10-year gap, man, it's been revolutionary as far as the way things are done now.
I think probably one of the oldest tools that go back that far might be the Rolly Pro. I don't know what year that came out, but I know that was probably the first kind of game changer tool that I had.
The Rolly Pro was?
Yeah. Rolly Pro?
I love that thing. Right? I love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a brush guy. I didn't do that many trailers, first of all. But I'm not I've done plenty, but I'm not a brush guy, and I never have been. And the roller, I get the roller pro down with the channels.
Yeah,
like that. I'm solid with that. So that's, I couldn't imagine myself doing them with the brush, but people do, and they probably do them faster than me.
Back then, man, that's what it was about. It was a heat it, brush it, and then try to tighten it up with the squeegee at the end, and then walked over to the next one. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I never knew it that way.
Yeah, dude. You know what I remember, man, too, is I remember the Rolly Pro was great. But even prior to that, I know a lot of people used to try to cut them out, and they would use like a hole punch. It was like trying to find the easiest way to get around the stupid things, because no matter what, they pop a little bit. It's not going to be 100%. At the end of the day, it's probably like 85%.
Right.
Just because the stuff's not made to really get tight around that. And depends on the rivet, too. If you got a shallow rivet or a bigger rivet. I mean, there's so many goddamn rivets out there. It's crazy. It's just insane. I remember they had these hole punches, and you would just put it over the rivet, swirl it 3-4 times, and it would just knock out that piece. I thought, for me, because I used to do a lot of commercial stuff like landscaping, trucks. Those rivets would have the hex, the star bits in them, and sometimes they would have a little burr. Actually, I would probably say 95% of them had a freaking burr in it. So when I would go to sink it in to the rivet, it would always tear. Every single time I'd get a tear in it. So I took the hole punch and I would just punch them out, call it a day. It would look clean. It would almost look like I took the rivets out and then put them back in. It would look clean. It would last a little bit longer. It was on a flat surface, no tension. I always thought that was always a good, easy, quick way to, fix that. But after the invention of the Rolly Pro, I mean, you can't go wrong with the graphic being over the rivet either.
Right, yeah. It doesn't matter. It takes time. You got to get used to the feel.
Yeah, the technique.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not, it's not the tool. It's not. You got to perfect your technique. You got to perfect your film, and you got to perfect the way the tool interacts with the film, and in the conditions that you're in. So it's like there's no one way about it. You have to really master all the techniques.
Right.
For you to get a solid piece, and then do that across a 53-foot trailer. So that's really I think the artistry or craftsman tradesmanship of our industry.
Right.
Is there's so much to it.
Right.
As opposed to just slapping it on the sticker. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's so many ways of doing things to get to the end result. It's just, what have you mastered as far as your technique to get there? And I think that's what I like about, almost watching the, the events that they put on at, the shows where, you get a bunch of people that install and they'll do a timed competition or something and just watching them, watching everybody do their own thing in a specific area, whether they're wrapping the bumper, doing the way you contour and cut a door handle for a commercial install. I'm always intrigued to see how people do certain things. And you'll see 2 or 3 guys, and each one of them will do it differently. And it's just like, oh, holy cow. Like, I would have never thought to pre-cut it and put the seam behind it, or, cut it completely and put the piece behind the handle first and then wrap over the handle after. There's just so many ways.
Right. So then, if you want to talk about the handle, so then in 2015, I went to Miami to participate in my first competition.
Yeah.
And, it was judged by Rob Ivers, who created GoPro, and, among some other judges. But so he teaches, he has another school of rap himself, and he teaches certain techniques. to do the door handles, and that's where you cut it below the handle, and then you stretch that piece behind the handle and down. And so you only have that one seam below the handle, right on the edge of the door cut,
right,
the lower door cut edge.
Right.
And I've never done. I don't think I still to this day haven't done a door handle like that. So, and I just doing that technique gives you higher points. So, but I stuck to my comfortable technique, and but that was open my eyes because I had never thought of doing door handle that way for a commercial wrapper. You're not necessarily taking off the handle.
What's your technique as far as doing a commercial handle when you don't have the option to remove it?
So I guess the way that I learned was just making one slit down the middle.
Yep.
And feeding it around, getting it down there, kind of lifting the lower piece up a little higher, and then stretching the top piece down a little bit. And that was just the most straightforward way. Back in the day, we would put a little strip over the top of it, but I think to this day, that's how I do them. And if I'm wrong, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be right, because then everything's working out for me.
Yeah, I think it's personal preference, and even client preference. It's sometimes you see a wrap and you don't see the door handles wrapped either. I mean, longevity wise, kind of smart. You know what I mean? As far as not doing the door handles, because I mean those things get grease on them. Your hands are always touching them. I mean, that's probably the most common thing that's ever going to get replaced on a vehicle other than like window perf, Yeah,
I mean, so then so on commercial wraps, a lot of times I did wrap the handles because a lot of times they are painted. So then, I guess where do you get that excess piece? You just find a similar color on a part of the vehicle wrap that you're going to trim out, like the window, wheel well,
right,
or somewhere in the windshield area, and then that's what I would use to top it, because most of the time they're not giving you an extra handle piece. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, especially when you're just doing installs for another shop or a client, they're not getting that extra piece for the door handles to cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't know what. A lot of times you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready for whatever. You might have to chop that graphic up and make it fit. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but I've been through a lot of times where it's a make it fit moment. Designed for a car.
How many times have you walked? How many times have you walked into a nightmare?
Man, it's like, I don't know. It's countless. There's so many times. Just so many times. But that's what makes you, great. That's what makes you good. That's where you learn. That's where you improvise and you grow. You overcome that challenge. But I don't know. I can't tell you how many times, man. That's kind of the nature of the beast. The product goes through so many layers that for it to not be a nightmare is a miracle.
Do you feel like that has made you a better rapper, where you don't really get involved in the design, you don't really get involved in the production, you don't get a say on how things get paneled, you're not able to go out and pre-measure and give, the production the right dimensions in order to get the right install. Do you feel like, keeping yourself out of that element has made you a better rapper, because now you're just showing up to the job and now you're able to kind of assess the situation and then figure out a solution on how to apply the job?
Yeah, I mean, it has to. If you're going to be an installer, you're going to have to deal with it. There's just it's not your choice. Like for me, for the most part, it gets done on this day, how or high water, and that's it. And so in those moments, when things aren't right, you figure it out. And that's no doubt is going to make you better. So if I was just in one situation, my whole experience and everything was perfect, I wouldn't be as a versatile or talented installer. You know,
Right.
I'm only going to see things one way. I've dealt with multiple manufacturers, multiple. I was employed by a few early on in my career. I was employed by a few shops, and I just dealt with graphics from multiple providers and seen an array of issues,
Mm-hmm.
and touched an array of vehicles and all surfaces in all kinds of conditions. So, you know, I wouldn't have been able to call myself Wraptilian without that kind of experience.
I agree. And to be honest with you, I love your name. How did you end up coming up with Wraptilian?
Well, it was, and thank you so much, because it was a process. You know, because like I said, I'm like a specialized individual, an installer, and I just kind of wanted my name to reflect that. I was in no way, shape, or form ready to create like a large corporate type business that could, you know, offer print and design and all that in one. I was just an installer, so that's where my name is geared towards me and myself. And I didn't want to come off as something generic. One of the options was Wrapzilla. You know, that Zilla was a trending name back then, and for me it was just too common. I wanted to try to figure. I knew I was creative enough to come up with something more interesting and unique, because you know that's kind of who I am. And so I came up with Wraptilian. Wrapzilla is like a beast,
right?
You know, Godzilla is the beast. So basically, in a way, I'm saying I'm a beast of an installer,
right?
Which I don't have a slogan, but hey, that's not a bad one. And so basically, that's my concept: is that how do I categorize that in one word, and then to be able to incorporate rap in it, it's just cool. And so, but it has a reptile aspect to it, you know. And the way I tied that in or made sense of it myself was that a reptile shed their skin, and I'm constantly in the process of peeling, removing, installing skins on various surfaces. So, in some loose way, I kind of tied all it together and it made sense to me. And that's the story of Wraptilian. But I was beating myself up over it. What am I going to tell myself? Because I was ready to start a business. I was ready to go on my own and start an installation business, but I just wanted to have a different, unique name.
Genius.
And it took a while.
Yeah, it never comes to you. It never comes to you when you think about being like an entrepreneur or a business owner, a boss, whatever you want to call it. It never comes to you on, okay, now I got to put a plan together. Now I got to figure out a name. I have to incorporate a business, build a website, build a brand. And people don't understand, like, there's so much that goes on in the back end before you even go and get your certificate. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be a business owner.
I put so much time into the name. And then, you're like setting yourself up as a business. Not to mention the years of experience that are behind all of that. It's a serious journey, and so you gotta put it out there.
It's definitely one of the best names, out there right now. Wraptilian. It's so clean and precise. And you still incorporated the rap in there without it being, such and such raps or, or something to that nature. Cause even when I had a tough time building my business name at the time. I went almost 3 years under, I think it was like Pro Style Designs or something like that.
Nice.
I went 3 years with that just because like I needed to get something, you know, kind of on paper, get a business thing going and whatnot. I went for 3 years, and then I had like an aha moment where a friend of mine, had posted something on like, I think it might have been MySpace. This is how far back it goes. He had posted something on MySpace that I had put some cool graphics, on his car. This is going back like Fast and Furious time.
Yeah, that's back in good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, you know, early 2000s, give or take. And he posted a thing up, and at the very end, he put down, let the designs flow. And after I read that, it was like a light bulb hit, like dinged in my head. I was like, design flow. Yeah. I'm going to do design flow. So for a long time, I went with design flow graphics, because that was most of my business, was the graphic scene, the import cars. I was pretty known in the Boston area for being the graphics guy, you know, mid 2000s, give or take. But once I converted to wraps, you know, the wrap industry, 2000, I think I changed my name and incorporated, Design Flow Wraps. It was probably like 2010, 2011, give or take. And I never looked back after that, man. It was just, you know, I would get compliments a lot. Like, how'd you come up with that name? It's so genius. Design Flow. It just kind of goes, you know. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just, I got a cool backstory, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it was kind of neat. And, you know, anybody out there that is starting a business that, you know, it's okay to change your name later. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you're stuck. But, you know, when you're like 5, 6, 7 years, you know, you really, when you make that change, it's going to be a little bit harder as the years progress to make that change.
Yeah, definitely. I was definitely aware of the power of a brand and the power of the name.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's really why I spent all that time trying to consolidate those ideas. And that's everything. It's branding, you know, that's our industry. So, of course, I had to, you know, kind of try my best to brand myself. And, but I don't know, I just have so much further to go as far as business-wise. I really appreciate you saying, you know, how clever you like Wraptilian. But it's like, okay, I have that name established now, and I'm kind of plateauing at where I am as a solo guy. So, you know, just those words just remind me to you know, that name is worthy of something even bigger than myself. And, you know, I'm still growing, but really the future is in making multiple Wraptilians and making Wraptilian bigger. So
play with it, you know, with the Wraptilian thing. I know you don't have any like icons or mascot design. It's kind of just the name, the brand, clean.
Yeah.
Maybe later on, maybe try to incorporate some type of like icon that goes with it. You know what I mean? Yep. That you can brand with that. That'd be super cool.
I just took it, you know, and hit the ground running. I didn't really get able to get back to it. Just being tied up installing, which is good, a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm you know, gonna revisit it. You know, this industry, you have your ups and downs, and you know, half a year ago I was on the downslope, which was not, it was like one of the first times, in the few of the 5 years I've been independent, one of the first times I started really feeling that, like, getting scared of you know, lack of business and whatnot. And then, but now since then, like the past 6 months, I've been slammed. I've had to turn down so much work that I feel bad that I can't help people because I want to, you know, be there for for these people. It's not only do I want to make money, but like I want to help these people get their projects done.
Right.
But when I can't, it's tough. But I'm just right now. I'm growing, building myself up, and making more connections. And I think the only really way for me to continue growing is just to expand and really commit and grow. But it's hard for me coming from like an individual, as an individual guy, solo rapper. That's kind of where my niche is, because people want me. They don't want a crew. A lot of times they don't want a crew. They want like me. They want my expertise, because I go in there and I get the job done right for them, and that's what they want.
Right.
So I guess it just comes down to training. I think I need to touch base with a few of the guys that are growing really good teams out there, and just try to pick their brain about it. But that's kind of where I am. And so hopefully when we talk in the future, we'll have some growth there, and who knows.
Yeah, man. I think the only way to grow, I think being like an independent installer, is such a cool gig, just because, you're more or less guaranteed a different job. You don't really have to go out and fight for bids. I mean, you do, but you don't. If you got a pretty good clientele that's pretty, pretty loyal, you know what I mean? I mean, that's such a big thing lately, is the loyalty of customers that will continue to come back to you. You know what I mean? Going out, getting the jobs, calling you, hey, I need this installed. We'll have it printed in a week. Can you schedule me in? I think that's such a cool gig. You know what I mean? And I think in order to grow, I think you could do it a lot in the beginning, but in order to grow, I think eventually, having 2 or 3 more guys or girls, to help you expand, they still get that, as long as you tell them, they still get that customer service. They're still going to get you. You're still going to book the jobs. Anything that happens has to go through you. Still have that line of communication still available. But now, while you're at one job, 2 other installers can be at another job. Now your revenue has gone up. Productivity's gone up. Everything has just gone up one more little notch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I guess I've been in that balance where it's like just enough work for me, but not enough work for 2 or 3 guys.
Right.
So, but I've been I'm 3 and preferred. I'm 3 and preferred, and my paperwork and all that stuff got finalized this past year. And so,
congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, I did the test a couple of years ago or so. But I've been getting, it's just trickling in, but getting quotes, meeting new people, getting new opportunities. So it was a slow process, and I have to put a lot of time and money into it. But it's not overnight. It's not a magic, it's not a genie in a bottle.
Right.
It's another investment into yourself, and it's another seed that you got to grow. That's working out. So I think maybe in a year or something, these things are going to come together, and I'm going to finally have that opportunity. It'll probably be good timing. I'm 35 now, so I started when I was 25.
No, you're still young, man.
Yeah, but
we're the same age, man. It's all good. This industry is just changing every year, and things. You've got the veterans out there, the Millers, the Connors. I mean, they're still kicking ass right now. They're at their prime right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
I see it, man.
Yeah.
I see older guys kicking butt, dude, and I'm just like, man, how are these guys are machines? Like, I only hope I could be that tough, when I'm older, because it can be hard.
It can be hard.
But I mean, you got to work smarter, I guess. I'm working harder, but the older guys know you got to work smarter too. So.
Yeah, I mean, you work hard now to build your brand and to set yourself up. I think. Yeah. I mean, when you had started your business, was it something? Well, let's before we even get into that, let's go back. Basically how you got into the industry. Take me back to, your first, interaction with vinyl or who inspired you to get into this.
So I'll never forget because, it was 2008, about 10 years ago, almost to the date, getting out of leaving college and looking for a job. And, I was pretty desperate for a job. So here I am on Craigslist and looking at all these jobs. I was looking at jobs just to make ends meet or whatever. And this ad said, "Are you good with an X-Acto knife?" I'll never forget that phrase because that changed my life. I'll never forget that. Like, "Are you good with an X-Acto knife?" I said, "What the hell? I can draw and paint. That's my background. I had skills in my fingers and holding a stick, so I figured I got this." I go down to answer the ad. I go down to the shop, and I had knew nothing about vinyl. I'd never seen. I didn't even think I'd seen large format printer.
Yeah.
And I walk in there, and it's like a nice office setting, or kind of modern office setting, and big printer there, and I just see it printing out this big image, and my eye just popped because later on in college I got into photography, so that's why I got into photography. It was also in art school, college, and when I saw that large scale image, it just was like, what? It was just, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I rarely do I get to see like images that big. I've never really seen stuff that big. So it was like, that was exciting. And then I still knew nothing about vinyl. So it was just a whole learning experience. So I was totally immersed in the new medium. And I was just like, this is awesome. For me, it was a great balance between working with your hands or working outside and being creative and building something and learning all these different tools and mediums. I was just fascinated, It was a new medium for me. That's how I approached it. So I just took it and ran. But, not to say that my first year was easy.
Right.
To be honest with you, after that, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm sorry. It was so wrapping in Southern California in the summertime, outside, and for your first year, and especially out of school, from young kid who had no idea how hard you have to work to make it in this life. I was so ignorant to what it actually took. So it was a freaking eye-opening experience to me. But I was up for the challenge.
Yeah.
I was up for it because it was rewarding. But my first year, I wasn't making much money. I was working hard. I was learning a lot. I didn't know anything about anything, so I can't really complain about that. But I just thought, I'm not making that much money doing this hard job. So I was kind of over it. But I really didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
In 2008, the economy crashed.
Right.
All I have is my camera. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try to be a photographer. Then I learned how difficult that was to get a foot in and how expensive the equipment could be. So it was like, that wasn't even an option. So, I found myself like working at some restaurant or something, making nothing. And just like, eventually that clicked, like, that was going nowhere fast. And my second year, I respond to another ad, and it goes off Craigslist as well. So I was a Craigslist rapper. So it's probably one of the best ones that came off of Craigslist.
Wow.
But I wasn't like doing all these tag jobs. I was actually meeting some decent people, but I got my second employer was off Craigslist, and we were doing all kinds of fleet traveling across the nation, doing trailers, vans, cars, whatever you could think of, indoors, outdoors. Summers is just brutal. I don't know if you ever installed in like 100 degrees on the trailer.
No.
Yeah, it's no fun, man.
No fun. I believe it. I mean, dude, I up here in New England, we've got the hot, the cold, the windy. It's just, especially when you don't have a shop at the time and you have to rely on the weather for the week to do specific installs, it sucks. I know that struggle.
So, but I mean, of course, so coming from my first year where I learned the basics, my first year I shadowed the lead installer. I just shadowed him with the torch for like months. And, which was awesome because I got to see how the material actually works and how an expert actually attacks the problems and the issues that arise.
Right.
Without having to I guess, I don't know. I just got to see how to handle those situations and how to fix them and how he handled himself,
right.
Which is key to like not getting stressed out or annoyed or whatever, and just knowing that you can get through whatever issue it is or whatever wrap it is. So I don't know how huge that was because I don't think many people have that kind of intimate time to like learn the medium that way.
Right. You were almost doing like an internship, so to say.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. I mean, I was fresh, I knew nothing.
Right. So. Which is always good to be fresh and to have that type of teacher to teach you, because you don't learn bad habits from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? You learn the good stuff right from the gate, because I think if you get into a habit of watching bad material, or bad techniques or not proper techniques, via YouTube, or watch somebody that really doesn't know what they're doing, and you teach yourself that, it's hard to get out of that habit when you actually have to do it like the right way. You know what I mean?
Right, definitely. Yeah, I could see a lot of people being misled over YouTube. I never had to refer to that. I was like, I missed that. I kind of missed that whole generation. And I kind of feel like the last of like the older generation, like pre-YouTube, pre-self-taught, garage, doing color changes in your garage.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I started. I came out of a shop. I came out of employers and everything was shop based and structured, and I knew how to professionally execute the installation. At least I learned the proper way from the get go.
Right.
And I learned all the formalities of logistics and organizing travel and whatnot, and you don't learn those kind of things without being employed or being under internship of someone who is doing that, which I think is really key to being successful. The other side of that, when you learn on your own, you really learn on your own, and you learn how to be independent. I had to learn how to build a business. I had to learn all those ins and outs that I had no clue of, like 5 years after. So,
right.
I mean, it just depends. Nowadays, it's easier to just start out of the blue, I guess.
Yeah, and figure it out from there. I mean, nobody ever gives you the full recipe on how to be a business owner. I mean, you can watch videos. Everything's kind of similar as far as, the dynamics, as far as what you have to get done. Are you going to be, a sole proprietor business? You're going to be an S corp, or whatever. What type of insurances you need to get. Nobody ever tells you that stuff until either something happens and you need it, which is probably not the best way to go, because that can shut you down very quickly. Or, as you grow, whether you're CPA that does your taxes at the end of the year, or probably your CPA, you probably don't hire an accountant, when you first start, because that's a pretty penny. And they tell you, okay, you made a lot of money this year, but you need to put yourself in a different tax bracket because you're a sole proprietor and they take double what they would take in taxes if you don't incorporate. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody ever told me, oh, if you be incorporated, you could write off so much more and you don't have to pay, your independent tax, because it's like 12%. You know what I mean? So
I see.
when you get to a certain bracket, at least in here in Massachusetts, I know it's different state by state, but self-employment tax is a lot higher than an incorporated tax. And I was able to write off a lot more in my second year, because I believe I was an S corp. So, I mean, people don't tell you that, right off the gate. You kind of learn trial and error, Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had, I have rap mentors, but I don't have business mentors.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I keep my things simple. I focus on the installs. Everything's simple for me. I can't, there's no sense in making it more difficult. I'd rather just focus on my day-to-day installs and just keep moving and knocking them out.
Right. Do you have to wear all the hats though? Do you do a lot of your billing and stuff yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it all.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough.
It takes time. It takes time.
Work all day and then at night you have to sit in front of the computer and write up your invoices or write up quotes. It's a long day.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's it. Yeah. That's where it is now. But I got a good system now, everything's pretty smooth. That's working out for me. I think we were going into
take me back. I know we got off subject a little bit, but take me back after, you worked hand in hand, with your kind of mentor, learning the business, learning, side by side on how to use the material. What happened after that? How long were you with him at that point?
So I was with that shop for about a year.
Okay.
And, by the time I left, I, had wrap trailers and all kinds of cars, commercial and just, maybe we did just a couple color change.
Mm-hmm.
Not very many. Everything was mostly graphics. I was 2008, so really I didn't see too many color changes yet. And then, moving on from there, I got into doing a bunch of fleet work, and a lot of the work was pre-mass. A lot of the vinyl was pre-mass, right? So I had never seen that.
Right.
And so I basically, I'll say mastered pre-mass installs because we were doing like full car wrap that were pre-mass and everything was pre-mass. And we did a fleet that was not ever released pre-mass, full wrap.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't make no sense to me, but somehow for the most part, the material went on without too many bubbles. With the pre-mass comes, how do you do contours with pre-mass? It's kind of, I didn't realize that you could do it, but you can.
Right.
And when I see people complaining about the pre-mass, I'm like, oh man, a lot of people don't know how bad, or, what you can get away with the pre-mask.
Well, pre-mask on a trailer is different than pre-mask on a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can get away with a lot more on a flat surface than you can on a contoured car surface.
For sure.
Do you think that given that scenario that helped you out to understand the material a little bit better?
Yeah, so then again, it was a liquid lamb material, and it was pre-mass, so I just learned, a bunch more. I think what I learned more about it most with pre-mass is just dealing with fingers and reading the vinyl even better, because you have to read the way the vinyl is going down over a door handle or a contour, and you have to see that in advance, like, it's getting too tight. You have to see how it's moving before you get it you don't work that finger all the way down until it gets wrinkled and to the edge of the body panel or something, you know?
Right.
You gotta read it that it's going to lay down where you're anticipating it to, because a lot of times you don't have the option. What? Well, I guess you remove the pre-mask to stretch the material where you have to. Like, I'm not wrapping, mirrors that with material that's pre-mask.
Right.
But you might start with the material that's pre-mask and then throw it away, and when it's loose, and then you can manipulate it that way. So that's basically how it was all done. But I think that was like premeditation to wrapping foam.
Yeah, you think that set you up for
that?
that?
That was like I don't know. I don't think that's the right word. That was just a hint at what I guess I had coming with chrome.
Right.
Because at least I see material acting that way, and I knew that the limited stretchability, what it looks like when you have too much loose material, if it's going to go down or not when you reach that point.
Right.
So I definitely think that helped me, and it just broadened my horizons. If I get pre-mask now, it's not like the end of the world. It might be annoying, especially if I'm not expecting it, but I've been through so much with it that you can do it.
Yeah, you've been prepared. Yeah, I think I think the generation from that era of when the rap industry was starting to become big, where there was no air release, there was no technology to that aspect of rapping, and people were rapping things without really knowing that it was actually something was happening with that. You know what I mean? Mm. And I think that the technique that you learned from using a calendared film to wrap a fender, a door, a hood, a mirror, the technique they learned to manipulate and distort the material to contour around that mirror or whatever, set you up for now with the technology that we have to read the material more. I think a lot of people don't read the material or pre-see things happening,
I think I see that a lot on Instagram. People post the project, their process.
Yeah.
People post the photos of the process, progress on the wrap. I just see why would you leave all that tension in that area? Why would you not just pull it all out? Like, I see a lot of, I guess maybe difficult approaches or unideal approaches. Like, I like to kind of glass everything as much as possible. I don't leave stuff hanging with a bunch of tight wrinkles there. And then I see the after photos and they're like, it looks great. I'm like, wow, surprised it looks that good.
Yeah, or it could have been done 10 minutes earlier if we just had taken one extra step. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when you work the material, maybe not so uniformly.
Right.
That's kind of my whole thing. You got to work it uniformly. Try to get it stretching all together, get the most out of it. A lot of times you see people and they have like tight areas, and I know to get all that fingering out, there's going to be overstretching on those edges just to get that out. So it's just stuff that you can see looking back, because of course I started like that. We all started somewhere, but after a certain amount of time, you could just see people's approach or not what it should be.
Right. Yeah, it's nice critiquing or seeing other people's approach to certain panels or certain areas of a vehicle, a car, a van, or whatnot, just to kind of see. Because sometimes you might pick up on something too. that one thing that you're just like, aha, maybe I'll try that next time. That might work. But then you see certain ones, you're like, oh man, I could have killed that 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean? It's always tough. I mean, like I said, there's always that one thing where, it's kind of, it's a numbers game. It's, 2 plus 4 is 6, but 3 plus 3 is 6. It's all the same shit. It's all it's all the same. You know, you get there. It's just, how do you get there? I mean, everybody's got their different ways of doing things, and I kind of like that analogy because, you know, everyone learns different. People learn from watching other people. Other people like to learn by doing it themselves. And I think, you know, from your generation, our generation, because we're around the same age, you know, we probably learned from watching other people. You know what I mean? I was always a good watcher. You teach me something once, I'm good. I got it.
Yep.
First try, I'm good. You just show me once, and I'll figure out the rest. And I was always like that, man. I think that's why I loved this industry, because every car I would get in is a different way of doing something. You know, same kind of technique, different approach. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I love about this game. And you know, you had mentioned too, like, is a lot of your work a lot more commercial end than color change now?
Right. Well, no. Most of my work has always been commercial, and actually few of my work is color change. You see all my color change stuff on my Instagram, but it's because I don't post my commercial work.
Because it's other people's clients.
Right.
Right. Understand. Yeah. Which is always tough to build your portfolio too. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you want to have something kind of to show, other than having maybe an iPad with your photos on it, or a phone with photos, or emailing photos. It's always tough to build that clientele being a mobile installer.
Right.
You know?
Definitely. Definitely. But I mean, yeah, I just give my clients that kind of respect, and, you know, I just keep everybody very, I'm going to say, I give everybody their own space, you know, and I don't know. I give my clients each an individual, time and attention and respect. And, you know, I don't get anything crossed between my clients, and, you know, I avoid conflict, and so I just try to do the best job, and that recipe has been my success.
Right.
And, it is what it is. You know, I make my living, and I do the work, and I have clients that keep me busy all year, and being able to post all that work, it's not, you know, at the end of the day, I'm happy where I am. So, and I still have so much more to go. That's the thing. Like, this is a huge industry, and I'm only in a very small part of it. So I know that, you know, eventually that day will come. But definitely. I mean, you've seen some of my work has been like highlighted in various places. Like, I'm just such a little guy in the industry, but I've been so fortunate to have some great opportunities to work with some awesome people and projects throughout my experience. So
right.
I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, you've had some snippets, some articles about you and the business and some projects. Why don't you tell me a couple of them you've been into?
Well, let me see. Maybe around 2010. No, I'm sorry. Probably around 2014 or so, I was in a commercial, like a local commercial for Mercedes-Benz USA.
Okay.
Where I was installing. I don't know if you saw that. I'll send that to you. But I was installing a Mercedes-Benz with a graphic wrap on it, and they were filming and like a real production crew. This was on TV. This was in LA on like one of our channels. And so, like, I saw myself on TV in a commercial wrapping the car. I don't know how many rappers have that opportunity, but, like, for me, that was huge, you know?
Definitely.
That was just to be in that position, just so fortunate to be in that position, because it could have been dozens of other installers. But that was one thing that was funny, because I spent all day wrapping this thing by myself, and the crew was there with me all day. And they were talking about the week or two prior, they're on some exotic island with some in this water, filming this, putting their lives in danger at risk of airborne disease and waterborne disease, and then they're just like filming me and looking at me like, now we're like filming this guy back in this car in this place. And it just was not. I don't know. I guess it wasn't as exciting for them, nearly as exciting for them as it was for me.
Yeah, one extreme to another. Jeez.
Yeah. So, I felt bad. I should have had some help. I should have got them out of there earlier, but they were really great, and they spent the time to film me installing that car, and that was really awesome. We did another project. Well, one of my most recent ones was Oracle. You see that one? It was on Facebook Live.
I think I looked through your. Is it on Instagram as well?
Yeah, I shared some photos.
Yeah.
So that was Oracle was one of the sponsors on this car build that was being built live on Facebook.
Wow.
And it was and that production was way bigger than the commercial that I was in. I mean, there was like dozens of people behind scenes and all kinds of equipment. It was pretty awesome. It was amazing. And it was a mini episode. It was like a mini field episode on once in a lifetime custom built TV show or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Really. So the way it worked was the viewers were voting on the parts of the car they wanted to customize. Wrapped in one of them, we had 4 colors from Oracle, and three of the colors were all basic film, and then one of them was this fluorescent green, like a prototype film, because I believe their fluorescent green only came in like 42 or 48 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did, I didn't know this either. What they did was they mounted it to I think a printable film, which made it thicker, and then they laminated it. I believe they laminated it, made it even more thicker. So it's about as thick as a chrome film at this point. And of course, the audience chose the most difficult film to wrap with. So I was like, I had my fingers crossed out. Don't pick that one, because we're live. We're wrapping this car in like a matter of hours live here on the King's Born. There's no like fake twos.
Right, that's it. You're stuck with that.
So, I mean, it was an awesome color, and that's what the audience chose. That's what the audience got. And there were several guys working on it. Probably one of the funniest parts of it was when the first segment, we did a hood. And there was like 5 or 6 guys to stretch the hood. And I was totally confused because I don't think I realized that the material was so thick and whatnot. We had like 5 or 6 guys stretch the film over the hood. And I was just like, what? This is ridiculous, because I've seen this on YouTube and whatnot, the internet. 5 guys dropping the hood. And I was like, oh no, I'm one of those guys now.
You've joined the group.
Yeah, I joined the group now, but I mean, with the film, it totally made sense. It went down. I think it snapped back and punched myself.
Oh,
because we were putting all our stretch on it, feeding it out from the middle,
right,
stretching it all out. We laid it down in one piece, and so we opened like that. Like that became a multiple guys on a hood. Multiple wrappers on a hood.
That's so funny. Yeah. Did they get that on video when you snapped it back and hit yourself?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. No, that was good TV.
That was nice.
So,
that was nice of Oracle to kind of sponsor that, that event or that gig, to help out with the material.
I was with Lexus, so it was a pretty big deal. The kinds of major sponsors were involved. And once the material got heated up, it did what you wanted. It's just a matter of knowing its limitation, since it's so thick. That's the only thing about it. So laminating it helped it to last longer, and whatnot.
Right. Those bright colored materials don't usually last very long.
Right.
The pigments
in
them usually fade out pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's if you want a gloss film to last, even a gloss film, if you want a gloss film to last longer, laminate it with another gloss, and that's gonna give it some more life.
Yeah, and clean it.
Yeah, and clean it definitely. Man.
That definitely helps more than anything. Is cleaning it, man.
Gotta keep it out of the sun.
Oh my God! Like the amount of stuff I see out there, man. It's just like the dirty wraps. I'm like, do you know that's just eating your laminate right now? It's incredible. I mean, here in New England, I mean, we get like the winters, and the winters get pretty bad, and the salt that they put down the ground when it snows, that stuff is so bad for the laminate. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I literally have to replace like panels after the winter time because just they don't wash it either. It's just like you want to drive around with the truck full of salt all over it. Just take it to the car wash and just spray it off. That's it.
Yeah.
It's tough out here.
Yeah.
You guys in LA got it way too easy with the heat, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I got it easy nowadays. I don't work outside like I used to. Thank God, that's so tough. But, we still find ourselves in situations like we were doing this desk in this building. We were doing this desk to do not Cynock, but architectural type film.
Yeah.
Doing this whole front desk, inside and out, cabinet, even inside of the cabinet.
Jeez.
It was kind of ridiculous. So we're in this. There's a lot bigger job than I thought, but we're in this space, and I'm like, okay, at least this thing is like stationary. I can sit down, I can crouch. It's not like I'm not climbing a ladder. I'm not doing anything too strenuous. But after about an hour or less, it became like so apparent how bad you need air circulation. It was ridiculous because we were sweating. I was sweating so much, and we're just standing still. There's no air moving in the damn place. And here I am thinking I had a piece of a cake job, and I'm sweating my butt off. Sitting down, I was like, I had never experienced that. I've worked inside of a trailer in Phoenix, like in triple digit weather. But I knew it was going to be hot in there. I had no idea I was going to be spending my butt off in this room doing this architecture wrap. So, not all those jobs are as easy as you think.
Yeah. It's usually the ones that you think are easy are the ones that usually bite you in the ass the fastest. Yep. It's super tough. Touching on the architectural though, what's your thoughts about the architectural side of the industry? That's something that intrigues you, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Not really my focus, but lately this year I've been doing a bunch of stuff indoors.
Yeah.
The potential is everywhere. Every surface you're looking at can be branded, or even if it's not branded, it can be, you can put some Dynox film over it and give it a new life. Clean up these old cabinets, make them look like new again, instead of replacing the whole thing out, which is way more expensive. So there's a lot of work there. Trying to get into it a little more. So I think it's great. I think it's a great way to go and get some, get some square footage down, and it's good to have an option to take a break if you're doing cars all week or whatever. It's great to have an option to break from working on cars or vice versa. if I was just doing architecture stuff all the time, I would miss cars. So I'm doing mostly cars now, and I'm digging architecture.
They have the classes now to get certified in installing like Dynoc and stuff like that, right?
Yes, and I'm interested in looking into them. I haven't taken one of those classes or got the cert yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely interested in it. I think it's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now I'm basically free deferred and Avery certified, which barely touches a little bit on architecture stuff.
I mean, it's a great source of revenue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you said, to change things up is always good. To get out of, you get so wrapped up with the cars, to get a couple walls kind of banged out quick is like a treat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when you're doing something creative where you're taking something like a honeycomb design or a wood grain, and you're doing the inside of an elevator or elevator doors or a kitchen to just change it up. I mean, that stuff alone, I mean, as flat as it may be, you still have to make precise cuts.
Right.
It's not like a commercial job where, you don't have to take things apart and blah, blah. This stuff, like, if you're doing drawers, you got to take all the drawer handles out. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. When you're wrapping the corners of a table, you have to make sure, okay, if I make the slice here, where's my overlap going to be? Are you going to be able to see it? Is it going to be a butt seam? Is it going to be a, 1/8 inch overlap? Whatever the case may be. It's a lot of precise stuff that goes into that. I love that it's gotten into, the architectural side. Like the adhesives have gone, the vinyl has gone into all these little avenues where, the color change side has gone into like the paint, and the architectural has gone into like the wallpaper. Just the kind of evolving circle of new products just coming out. It's just, it's like mind blowing, where you're just going to have people doing architectural stuff like we do the car wraps. There's going to be people specific to architectural. And it's like, I think that's just so cool to have that side of the industry, that still ties in with the wraps. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're coming in and you're helping them pick, as if you were picking a color for a car. Someone comes in, they say, hey, I want this like matte gray, and you whip out the swatches, and it's like, hey, you got this gray from Avery, or this gray or anthracite from 3M. You come in this architectural side. It's like, oh, what do you want to do? You want to do a brown wood grain, a dark black wood grain, a honeycomb look. It's like you're almost becoming like an interior designer,
Right.
to choose these types of colors or patterns for this particular room or project. It's like I said, it's just mind blowing that you can just walk in there and just be like, yep, get this. And then, a couple days later, it's created,
Yeah. Early on, for the first year that I wrapped, I saw this, she was an artist, and she was using some translucent window film.
Mm-hmm.
And she had all these colors, and she put them on the window, the storefront, this window, and created like this little art piece on it with all these colors, all these translucent colors, and it was really cool. And she just did it freehand. So it was like there are a lot of ways to use the material that are different than normal as well.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's definitely pretty crazy. What project are you most proud of that you've done?
Oh man, most proud of. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just proud. I'm proud I'm just proud of where I am right now. So I take pride in. I guess I'll take pride in all my work. But
good answer.
yeah, I mean, that's really what I'm proud of everything. Even whether it's commercial or color change stuff, because I do color change stuff really well.
Right.
And I do my commercial. So then my color change, because when I learned color change, the emphasis on quality and whatnot, and I refined those skills, and then my commercial work became that much better. So, after rapping for about 5 years, I thought I had everything down. And the next 5 years up to now, like, I do exponentially, but because I had a solid foundation, and I refined the color change, full body wrapping contours and whatnot. I refined those skills and translated to my commercial work, and it just made my commercial work easier, cleaner, more efficient. And I was really, a few years ago, I was just like really feeling I was really in the middle of that whole growth. I was taking what I had learned and then kind of just growing. And I was like aware of that process and just how that felt. But, in that flow at the moment, it was just awesome. And I didn't know that I would be able to grow that much more just by tweaking a little things here and there and with my approach and technique.
Right.
So then, that's why I take great pride in my commercial work, because I know it's very good. And but I mean, probably one of my favorite projects will probably always be the Blue Chrome Mustang that I did in 2015 for Kima.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was like the second car I really had done in chrome, and most of it was done by myself. And I was just putting myself out there, totally putting myself out there. My quality was going to be on display and whatnot, and it was a new material. I wasn't scared to take on, challenge. It was a new material. I was out of my element in another guy's shop, which not that out of my element, but I was like 100 miles away from home, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but that was the first car that I had in several cars to do that year. And it was the hardest, and when I hit it first. And, I don't know, it was a struggle. It was difficult. It just tested me in every way. And I did a pretty good job with that film wrap. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty solid. And I definitely knew that I kind of pushed the material to its max, and everything came out great, and it looked awesome, and it broke neck, and that was one of my favorites. But there's just so many, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in some large projects, stuff that I haven't even posted and whatnot, but all that stuff is in like racing, race
Right.
cars. I've done all types of race cars. You name it, dragsters, rally cars. I've done some Indy cars, and then like street modified cars. So, and with that comes contours and all kinds of other challenges, especially on Indy cars. Some guys are racing Indy cars out there right now, and I give them all the respect because I know how challenging that can be, and how many pieces are involved, and the curve, and I don't know. I give a lot of people credit out there who are disassembling vehicles and doing all these small components of the car, and just doing the best to kind of perfect them and make it look like paint at the end of the day.
Right.
I know how much work and skill is involved in that, and hats off to them. So really, I focus on commercial stuff, and if people come to me, most of the time they come to me from friends and acquaintances, and they ask for something custom commercial, and I'll take it in. But for the most part, I'm both with commercial stuff.
To have your work showcased at the highest event like SEMA and stuff like that. I mean, that's got to be kind of breathtaking to have that, opportunity to showcase your work at SEMA.
Definitely, especially coming from like a small guy and then newer guy to the industry. You know, I kind of jumped into the industry and I made friends and I met people and my work got out there and my name got out there and everything just did. And yeah, I mean, there's no better feeling than to like it's surreal. You know, it's like a dream just to see your work in a big car show like that, or people admiring it, and even the stuff that doesn't get seen. And when your client comes to you and they're like so happy, and when your clients request you, when their clients request you, like that's what I take pride in.
Right.
And those are the projects that don't get seen, but to me they're just as important.
Yeah. To see the client's faces at the end where you've created this masterpiece for them that potentially on the commercial side can generate revenue for them. Seeing those faces, it's just incredible. Those reactions of, oh my God, this is awesome. It's a representation of them, but it also is a representation about, your quality of work.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I did want to ask you, actually, I wrote it down earlier, was influencers. Who influences you now that you're a business owner? It could be anybody. It could be rap related, but it also can, not be rap related.
Well, early on, when I started my second year, one of my employers got Justin Payton come out and do a training, like a private training. So we had Justin Payton do a training with us. I think it was only one day.
Mm-hmm.
And but I had no idea who this guy was. They're like talking so highly of him and whatnot, and I was just this newbie. I didn't know any better. So in a sense, I didn't give him enough credit. But so I didn't know what I had in front of me. I didn't know how to appreciate it. But it was awesome. I got the training with Justin, and then for the most part, I felt confident as far as what we were going over and whatnot. But at that time we were doing a lot of pre-math stuff. So he wasn't going over any pre-math, and for me that was like what my whole concern was, because that's what I was doing with then. And that was just wasn't what he was covering. But I just thought that it was that I just so grateful to have met him, and I wish that I could have been a little bit more serious in that moment and kind of picked his brain more.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I was too young. I didn't know what was going on. And then eventually, I finally figured out who this guy was, and then a few years ago, I ran into him at SEMA, and it was like the first time I had seen him in 2 years, and it was just like he was a big inspiration because, of course, he had the biggest name in the industry, and he remembered me, and I was surprised, and he was just asking me how everything went, and that he likes to catch up on people who took his course and whatnot, and see how they are, and so that was just awesome, the fact that he remembered me, and after all the people that he sees throughout the year. And then now, like last year or so, I finally got certified, and he did the class in Colorado, Avery certified, and that was, yeah. I mean, I haven't shared that story yet, but I can talk a little bit about it because, when I went to Interford and I did my Avery certification, I just did the test. I didn't do the training. I was already into it around 8-9 years.
Mm.
So I was confident, I passed. And so when I went to do his course, I was on the red eye. I was on a red eye overnight, got there, slept for a few hours. I hadn't gone over like the workbook. I hadn't gone over to work. I'm in the class. He calls us to go up and take the written test, and I hadn't finished glossing through the workbook. So it's like that was foolish on my part, because that's the easiest part of the test to take, probably, right? And I almost passed. I almost failed because I missed several questions that were just in the notebook, right? And yeah, that's foolish of me to be like that. But I was just so confident in the fact that I knew how to install that I can get through this test. And I was busy too. I was working. It's not like I was just sleeping off. I was like working and rushing to the airport and trying to get to Colorado to do this thing.
Right.
And, so call us up. I'm the last one to finish the test, right? And he's already annoyed. And then he's checking it. I'm the last one in the testing room. He's checking it, and I just hear this little check, 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 and my heart just starts racing. Like, I know if I hear a few more of the checks, I'm going home. And I just got there, like, you know what I mean? I just got there to Colorado from California, like, what a huge waste of time that is. And he checked off a few, and he's like, here. And he's like, man, read the book, you know what I mean? Read the book next time. So that was foolish on my part, but we got through it. I got through that, fortunately. They started taking the test. One guys are just dropping like flies, man. And then I'm still nervous. I'm getting more nervous as we're going on. And one of the last parts of the test, it was a fender. So we're wrapping the fender, and it's like, if there's a cut on there, if you missed the thing, if you missed the piece of if you didn't completely cover the paint, it's pretty much I don't know if that was a fail, but it's pretty much a fail. And I did mine. I thought I did a great job. And he literally walks by 3 steps, glances at it, and he's like, oh, there's a wrinkle there. And I was like, what? I looked, I didn't see no wrinkle. I couldn't see it, but if Justin said the wrinkle's there, the wrinkle's there. So, I was just kind of blown away, like, that he kind of picked me apart in like a second. But maybe he saw that as I was doing it. I don't know. I didn't see it. It was just one of those things where it's like,
I think personally, the level of quality needs to be at that highest rate. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to point out the hardest parts of an install and where to look first if you know where the hardest part is. But
I see.
Sometimes it's the places you don't look, the easier parts, where there might be a little mess up or a wrinkle or a bubble you missed. Those are the things they're looking for. You know what I mean? Right. You can crank out the hard parts and spend all your time in detail on intricate, getting technical with that corner. You know what I mean? Everyone's always about the corner game and getting that nice round corner underneath and cutting it nice. Yes, that's great. But you still got the rest of the fender to finish. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So to keep that high level, you need to have somebody that puts that on a pedestal. And Justin does that. Does that. Yep. He does not take things lightly. And that's what we need in the industry. In order for you to pass the test, you need to uphold the highest quality. You know what I mean? And it makes you feel better too, because he's critiquing you on something that is just so minute to you, but him explaining to you like, hey, that's unacceptable. That internally, at least for me, if somebody was to say that to me, I'd be like, damn, I gotta get my A game on now.
Yeah, he's on another level. Like, that same fender, I didn't realize what he was going to do. He dropped down to his knee. He busted out this LED light, showed everything. It was like a daylight, way more than I saw with the shop light. He checked that I didn't scratch and nailed the coverage, and it was solid. But it's like all those little moments where he's like, scrutinizing a little piece is just, it makes your heart drop.
Mm-hmm.
And I got through that one, and my 3M test was very similar. So, so for that, Justin is definitely a huge influence. And then I just learned more about the industry, the more people in it. So, I think Phil Aiken with his whole Nexus thing, his whole Nexus based work and education, I think that's amazing. Along with Joffrey's just amazing artistic skills. PG Nola pushing a lot of beautiful designs, custom wraps, and just nice branding for himself in general. And Kate Design has always been a leader in the film. And, beyond that is just some of the bigger commercial guys. Because those even, I'm inspired by guys in commercial work, like maybe guys doing bus wraps or guys knocking out massive street wraps or people doing giant walls, even the guys that are hanging the building wrap.
Right.
Those guys on that commercial level, on the higher end commercial level, to me are just as amazing, if not more amazing than guys doing this custom stuff and pushing artistic boundaries of rap. So I mean, those are my main influencers
for the industry. Yeah, definitely. Great.
Yeah, for the industry. Yeah.
Great people. Is there anybody that's non-industry related that are influences for you?
Yeah, well, I've always been influenced by the art world and just studying the traditional artists. And nowadays it's all about street art and contemporary art. Graffiti art is more accepted. And then you have, right now they're making that transition from street to the museum or gallery. And just basically the art movement in general is the influence for me.
That's awesome. And that ties in with your photography stuff. And to touch a little bit, like going back to your college years, you went to college to study photography solely?
Yeah, I went in pretty much at the age of 13. I just wanted to be a fine artist. I began there studying about fine art.
Wow.
And background is in drawing and painting. And so in college, I studied fine arts, and it was taught in a traditional sense through those traditional mediums, drawing, painting, sculpture, printmaking. And then I found photography. I never gave it, I guess, as much credit as an art medium until I really learned about it and learned how powerful the image is. So, I learned about the power of the image and the ability to manipulate thoughts, or the way you compose a picture tells a story, and right. it might not be the whole story. It might be just part of the story, and there's a lot of power in that. And I got into rapping, but understood the power of the image and really give it that respect. Like it's easy to, but I don't take for granted. I'm putting up this Coca-Cola sign or whatever corporation it might be. I don't just take it for granted as some humdrum process, like commercial job. Like I know the power behind it. I know a lot of people put a lot of thought and process behind it, and now they're trusting in me to realize their vision. And I feel like I say we are, as installers, a huge part of that process. And yeah, it's great to have. They pass you the graphics. They're like, here, man, finish that race. Let's put that into, and we do it. And that's so great.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I saw a bunch of your photos. I think they were on Facebook from the prior RapsCon. You had taken some photos on the Raps VIP event. Phenomenal, dude. I mean, the photographs are amazing. A lot of little, people having conversations and you kind of just snap pictures. You can, like you said, you can kind of see in the whole image. It just says, like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can kind of see the story, how it, unwinds in the photos that you had put up there. I really wanted to touch on that because it's so great, when you can take, photos like that as well. And it you can kind of transition it into your work, when you're done, those product photos, those last, minute photos that you take of your work that you've done, to set a nice presentation for your portfolio. Man, that goes hand in hand. I mean, some people take photos of cars that are done with their iPhone and it looks okay, but you go to blow it up for a 4x6 or whatever for a photo that you want to show a client, and it's like blurry as hell, and it's just you don't get that satisfaction at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, man. I'm really not focused on photography nowadays, but I definitely never want to give it up. I'll always keep it by me.
Yeah.
But it's a tool, and I know it's a valuable tool. So, for example, when I was in Miami, similar situation. I was on a red eye overnight. Got there, competed, first round, first heat, eliminated, done. Like I just flew to Florida across the United States, and now I'm sitting down in the cafe in the convention out of this competition, and I'm there for like 2 or 3 more days. That was hard. That was real hard. But I was like, I had to be creative. I was like, this is not a losing situation. I can meet people. At that time, nobody really knew me and knew who I was. So I was like, I was just there.
Yeah.
And
time to network.
I got to meet some people, awesome people, and I got to take some photos there. I think that was the first event where I started taking some photos, and that was just a great way for me to meet people. And then I did the same thing at Wraptilian, and a lot of things I used to like to photograph were music events, performers, people on the street, really impromptu stuff. I never got into studio photography or anything. I just like almost like photojournalistic style stuff. There's so much magic out there to catch in everyday life, and that's the kind of stuff that I was drawn to. And so with that being said, like I'm in, the lighting situations are never the same. The people are moving. There's action everywhere. So I was used to shooting that. So then I just took those experiences and was able to capture some photos in the Wraptilian, Wraps VIP, and Wraptilian Indie, and Dan shared some of those photos on his site alongside Tim Evans' photos. My photos were shown there with I didn't have a logo on them or anything, and then Tim's photos would come up, and he had his Rapper Mapper logo, and so I thought that was pretty awesome that I was shared next to Tim. And Tim is doing an amazing job with his coverage. But photography has definitely been a tool for me to just share my experience and capture those moments.
Yep, that's awesome. I love it. To have that medium come into the Wraps and kind of open up, the door or open up a conversation to network with other people as well. It's great. And like I said, your photography is awesome. I went through a bunch of your photos and they're so good.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Joseph, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, brother. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, to come here on the show, share your experiences, your knowledge, your story. Let everybody know where they could find you, on social media or website.
So my website is Wraptilian.com, and you can find me on social media at Wraptilian, Wraptilian. That's about it.
Awesome, dude. Joseph, absolute pleasure, brother. I definitely wish you well for 2018.
Thank you so much, man. You too.
What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoyed this episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast. Hit that rank button and review. And to stay up to date with future podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.